Let's bring in Senator Lindsey Graham. Senator, always good to have you with us. We have a lot of things we want to get to with you today. Thank you for being here.
Welcome to Washington.
Thank you. It's always good to be here, especially in person. So let's get your reaction to what you hear and see on the border right now. And what do you expect the Israeli response to be?
To be so overwhelming to stop it. The Egyptians are the key here. Maybe they can talk Hamas out of this. I just want to give a message to the Israeli people. We have your back. I hope the Biden administration will be more clear in their support of Israel. They've given money to Palestinians without change of behavior. They've given hundreds of millions of dollars to the Iranians without any behavior change. That model didn't work during the Obama years. It's not going to work now. So this didn't happen during Trump years because Trump would have not put up with this. So the question to be answered, will Israel go in on the ground to clear out this problem like they did in 2014? I hope they don't have to, but if they have to, I will certainly have their back.
So turning our attention to what's going on at the Capitol today, Senate Bill 1 is being debated, and in an unusual or a rare situation, I should say, Mitch McConnell is arguing and negotiating over this himself, and so is Senator Schumer. Here's some of what's going on the Hill right now on this very, very crucial voting bill. Watch this.
You don't try to ban the other side from voting. That's what Orban does. That's what Erdogan does. That's what dictators do.
The Democratic Party, on its own, wants to rewrite the ground rules of American politics for their benefit.
The effort to undermine the freedom to vote in future elections has been coordinated and overwhelming.
This legislation is designed to ensure that Democrats never lose another election.
This is very significant, this bill.
Yeah, Ted's right, because it would change the way we vote. It would do away with voter ID. It would have the federal government giving $6 of federal money for every dollar you raise below $200. It would take redistricting away from states and give it to some independent commission. This would be a disaster for conservatism. Every Republican is united against S1. I can't think of any other piece of legislation that unites the Republican Party more than this. The only way it ever becomes law is for the filibuster to be abolished, and I don't think that's going to happen.
All right, this is Stacey Abrams in Georgia arguing, obviously we've covered the Georgia law. She says it's not just about voter ID. She says there's so much attention on voter ID. She says that's not what it's about. Listen to this.
This isn't about the reductive notion of whether you have to have an identification or the reductive question of whether you can have water in line. It's about the fundamental question of who is permitted unfettered access to the right to vote and who is impeded based on how they vote or the perceptions of which communities are inconvenient to the Republican Party in this moment.
Jim Crow 2.0, she's saying, essentially.
Yeah, here's what I would say. This is about the federal government taking over elections. This is about the federal government voting 29 states who have voter ID laws. This is about taking away from the states the ability to redistrict every 10 years when you do the census. This is about federally financed elections favorable to the Democratic Party. The reason they're doing this is they're losing under the traditional model. This is the biggest power grab in my lifetime. So you got Ted Cruz and Susan Collins on the same sheet of music. That ought to tell you a lot.
Yeah, indeed it does. And we'll see what happens. The other thing that is happening on the Hill tomorrow is the Liz Cheney vote on her leadership. This is what Joni Ernst had to say about the effort to remove Liz Cheney from her leadership post. Let's put that up on the screen. She said, cancel culture is cancel culture no matter how you look at it. And unfortunately, I think there are those who are trying to silence others in the party. What do you say to Senator Ernst?
You're not entitled to be a leader. You have to earn that right. And if people don't think you're leading them well, they can fire you. I like Liz Cheney. I adore Joni. Everybody should have their say. But when you become a leader of a conference, then you need to have the confidence of the people you're leading. To me, Liz has lost that. I think she's going to lose tomorrow. Why? Not because she voted to impeach the president. She was reelected overwhelmingly when they tried to get rid of her a few months ago. What's happened is that she's trying to make the argument the Republican Party is better off without Donald Trump, that he's disqualified from being a member of the Republican Party, that he should never be allowed to pursue office again. I disagree with that, and I think most House Republicans disagree with that. So when you're a leader and people lose confidence in you, you can be fired, and that's what's going to happen tomorrow.
So in terms of President Trump, you have said that there's no way forward without supporting President Trump.
Yeah.
There are, other polls out there that show that some of his support is declining in the country. I don't know if you believe those polls, if you think they're accurate or not. But, you suggested last night that it's just basically that people fear that if they don't allow to have Trump's support, that they will not get reelected. They don't have his support.
Right. It's Trump plus. He's the most popular Republican in the country by a lot. Is Trump plus. If you try to drive him out of the Republican Party, half the people will leave. So it doesn't mean you can't criticize the president. It means the Republican Party cannot go forward without President Trump being part of it.
Okay. We got to leave it there. Thank you, Senator. Good to see you. We'll be